In today's tutorial, let's do the Bernat Pipsqueak Star. This is a great little blanket and it has 6 points. Let's begin to do this next. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on the Bernat Pipsqueak Star blanket. This is a 6-point star and this is the exact same pattern as the fluffy unicorn that has been demonstrated in the Bernat blanket brights yarn that I will have. So it's demonstrating Pipsqueak yarn today, and here's a mini example of what you're gonna be seeing today. And this here, do you see any stitch work? No, absolutely not. It completely fills in. And one thing that I was really taken back on this particular example is that in the corners there's usually a lot of major gaps, especially in the center pieces right here, and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. But I was really captivated because a lot of parents express concern when their baby Afghans have too many holes or too many gapping spaces in it. So the Bernat Pipsqueak yarn is a really quite a fluffy yarn. If you were to water this down though, it's almost like watering down a Pomeranian dog where all the fluff is going away. But I can physically feel the stitches in behind. Let me demonstrate what I'm about to show you here. In today's demonstration I will be using different yarn, but I can physically feel the stitches. So though I can't see them, I can feel them. In behind and here I'm on a point because I can feel that there's a gap. So this particular Afghan can be done in Bernat Pipsqueak yarn, but you have to be familiar with this particular product and actually have some feeling in the end of your fingers in order to feel where the stitches are going to go. Just like so. So I can work all the way around with this particular Afghan. So what I want to demonstrate to you is the gapping spaces that will not appear in the middle, and then we're going to then jump to the actual tutorial of using yarn that you can physically see the stitch work in. When I originally evaluated this pattern, whether I was going to do a tutorial with it or not, I could not see if there was any gapping spaces in the middle. So here's a point and you can see a little bit of them here and here, but I couldn't see the one in the middle, and I figure it's just the way that the baby's sitting that you can't physically see it. Because what is typical in these kind of stars is that you usually have the gapping spaces here leading to the points, but you also have gapping spaces right in the middle because the material is bending and flexing. And what you're gonna notice on here is that we're gonna demonstrate this with the Bernat Brights using the fluffy unicorn pattern, but you will see that in the middles here there is no breaking spots. Okay, there's very little, and what's gonna happen is that we have two different rounds that we're gonna do. The first round we're gonna have a bit of a gap, and then the next round we fill it in. So then you only end up with the end peaks having a little bit of gapping spaces. So this is one of those Afghans that really surprised me. So once you understand 2 rows of this, or 2 rounds, all of these are just a repeat pattern of it, but they're just telling you that there's more stitches in between the corners. So let me explain what's gonna be happening here. So as you get bigger, okay, each round takes more yarn and therefore gets bigger with every round. So that means that there's gonna be more stitches between this point and the middle, and then this point to the next point, just like this. And so as you do that, then it just becomes making sense on this pattern, is that you're just physically following through. So as long as you understand that there's 2 different rounds in this, so in this green you can see that there's a bit of a gap this time, but the next time it filled it in. So the next one you can't really see it, but there's a bit of a gap, and the next time you fill it in. So what we're gonna do today is, in this particular pattern, is that we're gonna be demonstrating it just like this pattern here. So it has a color scheme if you would like to match this. In my particular one that I have, what you have here is that you can see that there's 2 rows of blue and 1 row of white in order to maintain it. Again, that's your personal choice on the colors that you would like to be able to do with this particular Afghan. And finally, before we jump to the Bernat Brights version of this particular tutorial, you should know that you can make this blanket in any size that you wish, as long as it complements the hook and the yarn to each other. So on the yarn ball, if it says that it's a 4mm recommended hook or size G, then you can use that and follow this exact same pattern. It will just take you longer to get bigger and etc. So that's just the kind of the key concept. So on this particular Afghan, it's asking for a US size K or a 6.5mm crochet hook using the Pipsqueak yarn, but on the Bernat Brights what we're gonna do is a size L, 8mm, and then use a lot thicker yarn in order to do so. So without further ado, let's head on to the tutorial for Bernat Blanket Brights, and it's exactly the same stitch work. You just have to be able to follow along. So let's begin today. I'm gonna start off with a slip knot, and we're gonna begin. And so we're gonna start off with the red color. I'm just using orange just because it looks easier to see on the backdrop. So what we're going to do today is that we're going to start as chaining 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the center ring of your entire afghan, and let's just take up the last chain and put it onto the hook, yarn over and pull through everything just like this. And so then your center ring is right here. What I want you to do is take this yarn strand, the loose one, and just loop it up over top, and then we're gonna trap that into position, and we're gonna start off with round number 1. So let's begin in round number 1. So you're going to notice in this particular pattern is that the pattern established will not start until row number 3. So but we have to get there first before we can do the repeat patterns. So let's begin. We're going to chain up 2, which does not count as any stitch in this particular pattern, and what we want to do is that we want to put 12 half double crochets around the center of the ring. So just yarn over, going into the center of the ring, pulling through, and then pulling through all 3 at the same time. So that was 1 of 12. So we're gonna do this again. So we're gonna have 2 and 3 4 5 6 7 we got 8 9 10, and if you're running out of space because your garnet's around the center of the ring, just yank on it and move it out of position. So we had 10 done already, and then 11 and 12. So now that you have your 12 in, you're gonna go to the top of the first half double crochet and just kind of pull on it and look for it. Okay, it's right there. Okay, see, this was the chaining of 2 that doesn't count as anything, so we go on the top of the first half double crochet to join it with the slip stitch, just like this. And it's gonna look really tight right now, but it'll settle down in just a moment. So let's move along to row number 2. Do not change your colors yet. So row number 2, we're gonna carry on. So even if you're doing the Pipsqueak version, this is exactly the same stuff, so don't think it's not. It's all the same. So we're gonna start off by chaining 1, and right where you've done the slip stitch, we are going to put 1 single crochet into that same stitch. Then we're gonna move to the next stitch, and we're gonna start establishing the points of your star. So the next one is gonna be 3 half double crochets into the same stitch. So 1, 2 and 3. You're gonna notice your project will appear like it's buckling, but you just gotta trust in me. It's gonna open up. You just gotta watch it. The next one stitch available to you is then a single crochet. So the repeat pattern all the way around is the next one is gonna be 3 double crochets into the same stitch again. And you're gonna start seeing the peaks. There should be a total of 6 of them by the time you get all the way around. Once you get that one done, the next one is a single crochet. Okay, the next one will be 3 double crochets again. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and then the next one is a single crochet. And the next one is 3 double crochets once again. So 1, 2 and 3, and the next one is a single crochet. Okay, the next one is 3 into the next one. So 1, 2 and 3. Next one is a single, and let's see if we can see how many points there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next one there's gonna be 3 double crochets in that one anyway. I remember that. If you just got to keep it in sequence. So 3 double crochets and followed by a single crochet. So this is it. That's all the way around. The first one we started with a single crochet, so this is the single crochet that separates this group of 3 and this group of 3. So just join it together with the slip stitch, and that concludes that round there. Things are gonna relax in the middle here, so you don't need to worry about that at this moment. But what I want you to do is that we have to fasten off your yarn. This is how I'm going to show you how to do it for this whole thing. Even with the Pipsqueak you can do it as well. So just take the yarn and put it over, and I want you to weave that yarn tail in and out of about 2 inches worth of stitch work on the top. And the next time we come around this, we're gonna be going right into these stitches, and so then it's gonna bury right underneath, and therefore you don't have to worry about using a darning needle to sew in any of this stuff. And that concludes that round number 2. Let's grab our next color and let's move up. So I'm gonna start off next with yellow and move up to round number 3, and I'm gonna do my next color. So in the instructions, because it was gonna use the same color as before in the baby Pipsqueak version, we have to just move over one. So right where you did the slip stitching on where everything finished, let me just get this over. So right where I joined it, okay, we have to start in the first double crochet of the group of 3. Okay, and just going into the top of the stitch of the first double crochet and just join it, and then we begin this round. So we're gonna chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, that counts as a double crochet. Lay this straggler down on top the line so you can trap it into position. Now we're going to start having the stitch work open up on the peaks. So the next double crochet is the middle one of the group of 3, and you are going to put the same thing in every time now that you go into a corner. It's gonna be 2 double crochets to start, followed by chain 2, and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch again, and that will create a beautiful point that you need. Okay, continuing to keep this underneath, and you can do great things with it. The next double crochet is the last one of the group of 3. You're going to put in a double crochet there, and this time you are going to skip the next single crochet and then just double crochet right into the next double crochet of the group of 3, and it's gonna be 1 into that one, and now you're on the middle one of the group of 3 again. So that means it's a point, so it's gonna be this time it's 2 double crochets. So every time you got a point for this whole thing, it's gonna be the same thing. 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. Then you're gonna come to the next one, or just the third one of the group of 3, and just 1 double crochet each. So the next stitch is the single crochet, which you're gonna skip over. You're gonna come to the next group of 3, and the first one is gonna be 1 double crochet by itself, and then the middle one of the group of 3 is going to be another point. So it'll be 2 double crochet first, followed by chain 2 and 2 double crochets. And then the next one is gonna be 1 double crochet by itself, and then you're back to the single crochet in the middle, so you skip over. So I want you to do that all the way around. This thing is going to look like a pentagon, or sorry, a hexagon, but it's not gonna stay looking like a hexagon for very long. So continue to do the same patterning going all the way around. So I'm coming up near to the end of this. This is the final point that I'm creating. So this is going to establish your whole points in this particular round number 3. And then that's my point there, and the next one is just a double crochet by itself. And where we started, okay, was this is the single crochet, so we're gonna skip over that, and we're just going to join it to the top of the beginning chain 3, and that will pull it in nice and tight for you. So we're right where we are right now. We're in the wrong spot. So what we have to do whenever we hit this round and you have them leaning over like this, because the next round we're gonna have them so that it fills in the gaps in the middle, is that we have to move over by slip stitching to the next stitch available so that we're second in. Okay, so you're second in and then you chain 3. 1, 2, 3. The only difference of this round and the last round is that there's more spaces in between the corners. So therefore you have to fill them in with your double crochets. So that you can see you got another double crochet here before a corner. So you're gonna put a double crochet there, and now you're into the corner. So the corners are identical to what you already know, and those are 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets, all in the same stitch or same gapping space. Now you're gonna move down. So what you have to watch for is that the first one here, just go right above it. Okay, so there's 1, and I'm gonna give you some visual cues. You're gonna do the next one and this one you gotta watch for. So you can see that, see, this is the single crochet that you skipped. These two are leaning into each other. So in this round what we have to do is that we're gonna put these two together. So how we're gonna do that is that we're gonna go into the top one of the next stitch, pull through a loop. We're gonna go into the top one of the next stitch, pull through a loop. You now have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3. That was the single crochet 2 together. So these two now just squash together and it's perfect. And now you end up with the right stitch counts again to go up this side. So if you remember the way we started here, there was 2 here before a gap, and then when we finished this one there was 2 here before you hit the single crochet. So you don't physically have to count those if you don't want to, but if you know what you're looking for it's a lot easier. So now you're gonna double crochet the next 2 going back to the next point. And then we're back in the point, so it's the same thing. So it's 2 double crochet followed by chain 2 and 2 double crochet, and now we're moving down the other side. So I'm looking to where the 2 are leaning into the middle, so I want to ignore those, and I have 2 before it, so that means that I'm in the proper count. So I'm gonna double crochet the first 2, and then the next 2 are the ones that are leaning over toward the middle. So we're gonna just join them together with the single crochet 2 together. So just going right into the next stitch, pull through, okay, next stitch, pull through. You got 3 on your hook, pull through all 3. And now we start going up the other side. So just continue that same idea going all the way around, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So I'm coming up all the way around and I want to finish off this color. I'm only doing 2 rounds of every color and right to the very end. So now that I get my 2, the last 2 are the ones that are leaning right into the middle, and I'm gonna finish this with the single crochet 2 together, and then I'm just gonna slip stitch it to the top of the first chain 3 that we had started with. So when we shifted over 1 in this particular round, we were just making room so that we could do this single crochet 2 together at the end. So you're just gonna join it with the slip stitch and therefore finish this yarn off. So I'm just gonna trim it and I'm just gonna weave it in. So just pull it through the loop and weave it in. So I'm going to show you the next 2 rounds, and then that's it for this whole thing, because it's just a matter of repeating just to make sure that you understand the concept. So there's going to be 2 different rows or 2 different rounds that you're doing with this whole thing as you go. So in one round we are leaning over and creating a little mini gap, and in the next one we fill in the gap. Do you see that? So they're leaning in, and the next one we fill in. So let's move along, and keeping right where we finished off is where we're gonna start next, and let's begin. So let's begin this row. So we're repeating this row and the next row over and over and over again. The only difference is that you get more distance between the corners. So right where we did the single crochet 2 together, we want to skip that and go to the first double crochet that's available to you. So in this round we're gonna skip over the single crochets that are right in the middle, and then in the next round we fill them in. So just going right into the top of the first stitch available to you after the single crochet, and then just chain 3. 1, 2, 3, laying down the straggler on top of the line so it gets stuck underneath. You were going to double crochet yourself all the way up until you get to a point. So you hit every one of them going all the way to the point. This time it's 4. The last time it was 3. You see that? So now on the corner here you're going to do exactly the same thing, is just 2 double crochet. It gets easier to do this as you move up, and then chain 2 and then 2 double crochet. And then you're gonna move down the line. Okay, so what you want to watch out for is that single crochet that's right here. You don't want to touch that at all. So we're gonna just move our way down. So remember the first stitch is right above this first one here. So if you shift over one and miss that, you're gonna end up with points that are not equal. So you just gotta look for that. So 1 double crochet into each until you get to that single crochet that you're gonna skip over. Okay, the next one is the single crochet. Okay, I can see it here. See how that's coming together? And so I'm gonna go to the next one. So skip this stitch and go to the next one. And if you have to physically count it, then count it by all means. So this side after the corner was done, we had 1, 2, 3, and 4. See this side here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I know I'm in balance. So this side 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'm on a corner again. So the corners will always be the same of 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. So please do that all the way around for this round. So I'm coming up all the way around and I'm just going to finish this off, and I jump over that 1 single crochet right in the middle and I just join it to the top of the chain 3. So that row or round is done. So in this round we skipped over the single crochet, and in the next round, like, you skipped over all of them just like you see. And now let's move along. So in this round here, what we have to do is that we always have to shift over to the second one over. Okay, so we're gonna just slip stitch to the second one over and then begin. So 1, 2, 3 counts as a double crochet, and you're just gonna move yourself up. Do not get confused when you do this slip stitching. Sometimes it appears over the first one, but it's not. So you just gotta just make sure that when you start doing your double crochets, you're into the right position. It will shift into the proper location at a later time. Okay, so you just gotta trust in it. So you're just gonna double crochet yourself all the way to the corner again, and there will be another extra stitch now because of this, and then in the corners is always the same. So 2 double crochet followed by a chain 2 and 2 double crochet, and then you come down the other side. So this is the second part of the round. So the first one we did slightly different in the middle. This one is gonna be different again. So we're gonna come down and we're going to look for the 2 middle ones and stop, and we're gonna put those together with a single crochet. So I just kinda like do it, and then as my fingers feel like I'm getting closer to it or I visually see it, then I kinda just slow down and see where I am. So I think it's the next one. So see how they're leaning into each other? There's the single crochet. So those 2 are gonna become 1. So just gonna bring those together with the single crochet, 2 together like so, and then just continue then to double crochet the next one all the way to the point. So this is how you do this particular Afghan. It's actually really quite simple. You can get to 64 inches in diameter with the ones that are for the fluffy unicorn, and then at the fluffy unicorn, the final purple or the final revolution, if you're following the color scheme, you have to do half double crochets. So instead of doing double crochets, you're just gonna do half doubles for the final revolution, and that will make it so that you have enough yarn to be left with, and then you're gonna trace it then with the original color that's in the middle. In my case it was red, and let me just pull up the example, and all you're just gonna do then is just single crochet yourself around a border. So all you're just gonna do is starting and stopping exactly where you were in the middle, is that you just trace it. So on the ends here there would be 3 single crochets here in the turn, and then just single crochet into each, and then I just continue to single crochet right over top, so I don't put them together at all. It's just that I continue to single crochet all the way around like that, and it gives it a really kind of a clean border idea. So this is how you would do the Bernat Pipsqueak Star blanket or the fluffy unicorn blanket. Both are the exact same stitches, but you can physically see the stitch work here when it's done in a different color and different type of yarn. So until next time, it's Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. Have a great day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.